morning.
Good morning.
I'm honored to be in front of you today reflecting on this week's gospel reading. As I read the gospel, I have imagined myself walking down the road beside Jesus. I thought about how I would feel once Jesus revealed himself to me. First, I would feel foolish that I didn't recognize him as the risen Lord. Second, I would probably not be brave enough to tell people about this experience. I would feel foolish because I am an overthinker. That I'm an overthinker, and if you're an overthinker like I am, you tend to go back and review conversations and pick out things that you feel shouldn't have been said. Also, I would worry and even wonder if I have presented the best version of myself to God or to Jesus. I inherited this trait from my parents because whenever we have friends over, my parents make sure that the house is more presentable than it regularly is. And lastly, I would wonder and even question why Jesus showed himself then and why to me. Why was I worthy? There were many other people who were probably doing more amazing things. As I reflect on these questions, I realize my generation tends to question a lot about Jesus and the events that occur in our everyday lives. We question why things happen and why certain people in our lives are in our lives. People say music is universal, and I would have to agree. I see people searching but not recognizing Jesus and questioning him in many different forms of music genres. One song from my generation that really sticks out to me is from the rock band named The Killers. The song is called When We Were Young, and the lyrics that stick out to me is that he says he doesn't look a thing like Jesus, and then the singer later describes a man who has flaws and would most likely be an individual that people would judge. However, his character is loving and protective and exactly what the woman needed at the time. Sometimes we judge people by their outer appearance without realizing the good roles they could play in our lives. Just like the men who didn't recognize Jesus, sometimes we don't recognize those people who Jesus placed in our lives to help us because they don't look like us or they come from a different background. Another song that sticks out to me is Vertical Horizons. The title is Everything You Want. And then the singer describes himself as being the guy that she needs and wants. But however, he means nothing to her. She doesn't recognize him. I believe that we can also apply this to Jesus. He's everything we want and need, but we don't always see him as a daily presence to our lives. And these types of songs go on from Christians struggling with their faith to even a proclaimed atheist wanting to believe in the power of Jesus, but the atheist needs a sign to know that Jesus exists. Earlier I said I would not be brave enough to tell people about my experience. My generation is really the first one to grow up in the social media era. In this day and age, if someone had said they saw the risen Lord, many would be on Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter in a matter of minutes, questioning and even criticizing that person and calling them crazy. The social media trolls would talk as if they knew more about what happened to that person than the person who actually experienced it. This makes my generation leery about sharing information on faith and beliefs because of the fear of backlash. In conclusion, I feel that my generation is struggling to see Jesus and wants him to reveal himself so we can believe in him. But if we put down our phones, computers, and games, etc., and take some time to read the Bible and fellowship with friends and family, we will see that Jesus has already revealed himself to us. He guides us, watches over us, and carries us when we cannot walk, and loves us beyond our imagination. So I would like to say, let's open our eyes so that we can recognize him. Amen.